If you like what I do, consider joining my channel or donating to my coffee. Links in the description.
Hey, you guys are watching
Bone
Up, the worst
Phrase
on
Video Games.
Ya boobay, ya boobay, ya boobay.
Hey, it's the Metroidvania Guru, and this is NOTroidvania, a show for when I play a game I thought could be a Metroidvania, but then it turns out it's not a Metroidvania, and now I gotta make up a whole new series to justify the time I spent on a game that doesn't fit my channel's theme, so I don't feel like I wasted my time. Anyway, I've always been fascinated by the blurry edges of the Metroidvania genre. I don't know if there's a Steam user tag that gets abused more. If a 2D side-scroller has an interconnected world and or a map, you can bet your sweet cheeks someone's gonna slap that Metroidvania label on it and call it a day. NOTroidvania is my lab for dissecting what makes a Metroidvania tick by studying the games that don't quite make the cut, even if they really look like they should. But this isn't a series strictly meant to gatekeep the genre. My goal is to view these pseudovanias through the lens of a Metroidvania expert and discuss how they use the DNA and design pillars of our favorite genre to appeal to Metroidvaniers. In the simplest terms, I want to tell you why a Metroidvania fan would like this non-Metroidvania game. If only I had a willing subject for my inaugural episode. A huge game to really get this series off to a strong start. One that people have been waiting for, I don't know, 6-ish years. Oh, hi Mina the Hollower from Mina the Hollower. You're the perfect candidate for my new series. Now, I know what some of you are thinking out there, especially you MV purists. It's obvious Mina the Hollower isn't a Metroidvania. And you know what? That's a great point. Mina never advertised itself as a Metroidvania, it doesn't have the Metroidvania tag, and it looks like an overhead Zelda-like. But I had to check it out for myself. Sometimes publishers don't like to use the dreaded M word to describe their game in fear of the big N sicking their lawyers on them. And I personally don't believe Metroidvanias are defined by their perspective or the way the camera is angled. For instance, Unsighted and Tearscape are excellent examples of overhead Metroidvanias. So I played Mina the Hollower strictly for research purposes and came to two conclusions. One, it's not a Metroidvania, and two, it is a great game. And I want to tell you why it's a great game and why Metroidvania enjoyers should absolutely check it out. Of course, combat is the first thing we talk about, and Mina knows how to bring the pain. You start with the option to pick one of 3 weapons, each with their own strengths, speeds, and general feel. I went with the whip because of course I did, and went on my merry way. Well, merry until I realized Mina is kind of a hard game. I died a lot in the opening hours and was annoyed to discover the game has corpse running, an antiquated staple of difficult games that was popular back when Mina first started development. I had a similar complaint with Silksong, and like Silksong, I blame Mina's long development cycle for the game thinking it's still in vogue to limit player attack directions while enemies get to swing freely at your blind spots. It's frustrating, but totally surmountable once you adjust to the learning curve. Small tangent, but there was some discourse leading up to Mina's launch where people were upset about the game's absurdly robust accessibility options. options that let you make the game easier, harder, or just plain goofy. And a bunch of people got mad that these options even existed. To them I say, shut the f up. And I mean that in the most disrespectful way possible. These accessibility options are, wait for it, optional. You don't like them? Don't use them. What's the point of getting butthurt over something that isn't mandatory? I went into the accessibility menu and turned corpse running off the moment I realized I could. If me playing the game the way I want to play it hurts your feelings, die mad. Moving on, Mina has access to sidearms, sub-weapons that function almost exactly like Castlevania's. Maybe a little too exactly for my tastes. They run off a meter, which is fine, but the part I can't stand is how you equip them. First, you have to find the sidearm out in the world, then pray you don't die or accidentally pick up another one because it'll instantly replace whatever you were using. Sure, you can pick your old one back up, but then you get that awkward moment where the sidearm you don't want is sitting there in the way, so you just stand around like an idiot waiting for it to despawn. It's obnoxious. Eventually, you can unlock ways to hold more than one sidearm and even store them in your underlab, this game's save station. But why isn't that just available from the start? Why is this locked behind upgrades you have to pay for later? It feels like a weird fossil of a system that doesn't really add much to a modern day experience. And it gets even worse when the game expects you to have specific sidearms equipped to pass optional areas. Of course, you don't have the correct sidearm equipped, so now you have to remember where you last saw it, go all the way back, pick it up, and then remember where you needed to use it. Because Lord knows it must have been too much trouble for the devs to include an in-game map. They only had 6 years to make this game, cut them some slack. As for actually using the sidearms for combat, yeah, they're tons of fun. You got your arcing axe, this ghost you can summon, a bike with a spike on it. The majority of sidearms are super inventive, fun to use, and impactful during combat. My favorite was this knife that acted as a boomerang, and you could hit it to send it back for extra attacks. Bosses were a definite highlight. Big, creative, challenging, and very engaging. I don't really have a lot of notes. The team went all out to make these encounters memorable and fun, and they certainly delivered. I wish there were more defensive options from the start. Mina can jump and, more interestingly, burrow in order to escape attacks. The burrow is intuitive and crazy fun to use, but it's a bit slow to be the most effective evasive maneuver. Just a quick dash would have been nice in the beginning. The burrow is used for a lot of games platforming, and oh, a baby, does this game have platforming. I was frankly surprised at how much platforming it had, and how good the platforming was. Overhead platformers are notorious for having iffy platforming, but Mina absolutely nails it. I felt her little mouse controlled like a dream. And some of the platforming sections can be pretty dang tough, so precision, patience, and practice are needed to get through Tenebrous Island. Okay, let's talk about healing, because it took me a second to wrap my head around it. You have a set amount of vials. These are your Estus flasks. However, they do not regenerate any health unless you have this yellow part of your HP showing. How do you build up this yellow part? By hitting enemies. So basically, healing is like the rally system in Bloodborne, but with the extra step of having to drink a vial. It works, but I wasn't a fan of it. When it comes to player expression, Mina's got a few avenues to explore. There's your weapon of choice, of course. Then there are trinkets that are your accessories that modify Mina, and then there's boning up.
Phrasing.
I don't know what to tell you. That's what the game calls leveling up. Mina collects bones from defeated enemies and, quite frankly, everywhere. It's disconcerting how many bones litter this island. And she can use these bones to level up stats like attack and defense, or she can use them as currency to buy stuff like trinkets and keys that unlock special blocks. Exploration's another core aspect of Mina's gameplay loop, and probably the game's most interesting. For you see, there are no traversal abilities to unlock in Mina the Hollower, and thus there are no ability gates to gate you. Tenebrous Isle is completely open to Mina from the start. It's true you'll be blocked from visiting certain areas, but there's nothing stopping you from going around and unblocking paths yourself. The only real barrier is that enemies will absolutely squash you if you wander somewhere you're not ready for. So yeah, there's a critical path, and the game does a great job pointing you toward it with the newspaper mechanic. But if you're feeling rebellious, you can absolutely act on those rebellious thoughts and go wherever the winds take you. Just don't expect to survive long. This kind of openness is refreshing and genuinely rewarding. Osix, the game's central hub area, is full of wacky characters and shops. It's entertaining just to walk around and see what the NPCs are up to, but what really makes Osix great is how it grows and opens up as you progress. More buildings, characters, and shops become accessible as you unblock paths, and it's genuinely fun to watch the place evolve. As for the game's presentation and narrative, it's all good stuff. I don't think there's a gamer alive who could look at Mina and say it looks bad. The pixel art is fantastic, the animations are expressive, and the music, objectively wonderful. The narrative's fine, predictable but serviceable. I'll let you piece things together yourself from this basic setup. It's the richest man on the island, beloved by everyone, versus his traitorous general or whatever who wants the machines that are draining the earth to stop draining the earth. If you can't figure out who the real bad guy is and what's really happening here, play more video games. Despite the trite story, the characters are very charming. Mina herself is likable, and the island's quirky denizens add so much personality and humor. It's tough not to fall in love with this game. Alright, let's wrap this up. To the surprise of probably no one, Mina the Hollower isn't a Metroidvania. There's no traversal upgrades, no ability gates, there's not even a map. You can unlock a high-level map of the island you can only look at in the Underlabs, but that doesn't count. But even though it's not a true MV, there's enough MV DNA present that Metroidvaniers will no doubt love Mina the Hollower. The combat hits hard, the platforming is shockingly tight for an overhead title, the bosses are a spectacle, and the world is fun to explore thanks to its openness right out the gate. Sure, a few systems feel like fossils, and the story won't blow your mind, but none of that stops Mina from being one of the most polished, confident, and downright enjoyable action-adventure games in years. If you're a Metroidvania enjoyer looking for something adjacent, energetic, and expertly crafted, Mina the Hollower absolutely deserves your time. I award Mina the Hollower an 8.5 out of 10. Mina the Hollower is a triumph, a truly hallowed experience.